Okay. Good evening and welcome to your sports show, your favorite sports show. My name is Joshua Odeyemi. I have, as usual, Clement Oleyede here to discuss sport this evening. You are welcome, bro.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Last weekend was a very hot one, I would say, with Liverpool and Manchester City taking the title fight to the very last moment. Sky, what is your take on that day?
The Premier League this season has become the league itself has become more competitive compared to what we used to have, and for the tournament to go to the last day before fans and the club can know who their champion will be shows the competitiveness of the league. If you look at even when the match was going on, as at some early moments of the matches being played, when Liverpool scored and Brighton scored
Manchester City,
we could see the celebration in Anfield. The fans were not only watching their match in the stadium, but they had their phones checking the live scores, and immediately they heard that Brighton have scored Man City. The celebration was much more pronounced. And what happened later, few minutes later, when Man City equalized, we saw the tempo.
Just within 1 minute.
It's not even up to a minute.
Up to
seconds after passing the game, they scored, and the tempo went down again in Anfield, and there was jubilation in Man City.
It was away. Brighton. They played away.
But at that time, Man City still knew that they need at least another goal before they can become champion.
Comfortable, not to become champion. When you look at the match, you see that even Pep Guardiola didn't celebrate until the third goal.
Of course.
Until the third goal came, we went.
Because you know when they scored the second goal 2-1, I was telling people that were watching that Brighton can still surprise them at the end of the day. They can leave the match till late in the game
to equalize.
To equalize, and that will have been deadly. Because look at when Manchester City won their first Premier League in 2012. No, is that 2012? 2013 or so. When they first won their league title, they left it late. Manchester United were already leading.
It was like
just 2-2 against QPR.
Yes,
they were leading 2-1. I think QPR equalized. Then I think 90-something minutes or 80-something minutes, Aguero scored the final goal, and you saw the jubilation that time. It was the same feeling when Mahrez scored the third goal for them that day. You could see the way Guardiola celebrated, because he knew that at that point
there was no going back.
It will be difficult for them to concede 2 goals at that moment. So that shows the competitiveness, like I said, of the league. Because last season we didn't have this kind of competition.
Although like some 2-3 matches,
Manchester City just went ahead and
swept
dominated everything. Look at for you to really understand the competitiveness of this season's home, when you look at the points gap between the winner and the runner.
Yeah, going to that point, this is the first. I think the second highest point that the team has gotten in the season.
Yes,
I think they had the Man City had the highest last season.
They had it with 100 points, and they came second at this time around with 98 points.
Then with the second position, the team on the second position having 97 points. How do you feel if you are a Liverpool fan? You've gone all the way to win 30 matches in the season and lost only 1, drew about 6 or so, and you still didn't win the league.
I think to get everything first set out, the record straight, this is the first time a club will have as many points as Liverpool had this season
and not win the league.
As a matter of fact, a lot of clubs that have won the league have not been able to get up to 90 points in the season. And for you to get 97 points
and still not win the league
and win the highest number of games with 30 points,
and lose lowest number of games.
One game lost. It was a very devastating one. But all that being said, as a neutral person, I told people that day that as good as Manchester City were, Liverpool actually bottled the league. If you look at everything working out, you know that Manchester City from day one were the team to beat.
Yeah.
A team that could go ahead to garner 100 points just last season, and they are here to defend the trophy. You understand that this is something that means so much to them. But Liverpool had a very good start, going ahead after just 20 games with at least 10 points. They are leading Manchester City with 10 points. But then to now bottle it up with not losing, people have to understand this. They were not losing their matches.
Yeah.
And that is even more dangerous. In Premier League, it's better to lose one match in 3 matches than to draw the 3 matches. Because you lose more points and it affects the morale of the team. Sometimes losses are better than most of the time losses are better than draw. Because when you lose, it boosts your team, your players have something to fight for. They want to improve their performance. They want to show that, okay, this next match we are not going to lose. But when you draw, when they drew, for example, when they drew against West Ham, I think Jasmina said they thought when West Ham equalized 9 minutes, it was more like West Ham thought we'd be able to stop them, but they are going to bounce back. The same thing happened when they drew against Everton. They said they were still going to bounce back, but that still didn't work out. Those draws that accumulated were the ones that later on affected them.
Okay, now this takes us to the question of our viewers out there. We want you to send in your comments as we try to see if Liverpool were actually unlucky or Manchester City were just too good for them to handle. And now looking at the points accumulated and the number of games won by the two teams, and what would be your take when we look at the two teams? Is it that Liverpool were just not lucky, or Manchester City were just too good? Looking at the players, for example, at the end of the season, about 4 Liverpool players won Premier League award. The goalkeeper, Becca Allison, was voted the best goalkeeper in the league. Their defender, Van Dijk, was voted the best player of the league. Then their 2 strikers, Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah, were joint top goal scorer with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So when you look at the two teams and you look at the quality of players and the awards, individual awards that these players won, in Manchester City there was nobody with any individual award. So will you now say that Liverpool were unlucky or Manchester City were just too good for them?
Earlier when I said Liverpool bottled their chances, it might look like a very scathing comment on a team that when you juxtapose their performance last season to their performance this season, they are the most improved side in the Premier League. Liverpool finished 4th last season with 75 points. And this season, they finished 2nd with 97 points, a number of points that is enough to win the league anywhere, anytime. But, like we said, Manchester City, as you know them as a team, as a unit, they are exceptional. Bringing back to what you talk about individual performance and this thing, that's the difference in the long run. Manchester City is a more complete team. You don't see, they don't eventually depend on 1, 2, 3 persons to do this thing for them. When Kevin De Bruyne was out of their squad for a very long period of time, they had players that step up. Gundogan step up. When Sané is not playing, Mahrez is playing. When Mahrez is not playing, Bernardo Silva was the exceptional player of this season. His performance was extraordinary. Going back to what you now said, were Liverpool unlucky? Yes, to a very large extent they were unlucky, because when you have that kind of number of points, it's just say your luck was not on your side. But that still shows the exceptional quality that is inbuilt in that Manchester City squad. Don't get this wrong. Let's not forget this. Manchester City is not a first 11 squad.
In fact, they can assemble three good
that will still compete in this Premier League. Yes, that's what tells you that look at the gap difference between the runner-up and the first position. That shows you that these two teams are way ahead of their peers.
Okay, now let's quickly take some of the comments from our readers. Some people sent comments to our Twitter handle. We have Luke Ikiato at Likiato. My EPL team of the season should be Liverpool. They won individually enough, raise their standards, improve a whole lot in different divisions of their game, and shows they are coming to stay. For Liverpool to trouble City irrespective of their squad depth, I give it to Liverpool. We'll come to that, talking about the squad depth. Then I think Manchester City were too good for Liverpool. Liverpool had an amazing season, but they were unlucky. Now, the squad depth, when you look at the two coaches, Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, the club had just few players to work with. When you look at the forward players, we have Mane, we have Salah, then we have Shaqiri and Origi. When you look at the backups, are they of any quality in case there is injury to the team? Then you look at the midfielders, they are hardly a quality replacement. Look at defense too, Alessandro Arnold and Roberto. When you look at both of them, is there a quality backup for them? Then Van Dijk too, and the keeper, Becca Allison, which he had, I think is the signing of the season to me. So when you look at what they have to work with, who among these two coaches will you say has done exceptionally well? Though Guardiola went ahead to beat Jurgen Klopp, Mauricio Pochettino, and Nuno Santo to win the manager of the season.
To the squad depth, like I've always said, one thing Guardiola have had working for him over the years from his Barcelona time is that he had always have clubs that believe in him and are buying into his idea of football. What I mean by this is that it's a different thing altogether for a club to believe in you and for them to buy into your idea of football. When Guardiola came to Manchester City, his first season, all of us saw what happened. He had some dead legs, dead wood players in the squad. And he identified them. He sold almost all of them. It was a mass exodus for most of the players in Manchester City. The club hierarchy supported him, and they backed him up with the finance to buy players. When he went for Mahrez last season, people were like, you had Bernardo Silva, you have Leroy Sané, you have Raheem Sterling, all playing in this position. You are still going for Mahrez that won the best player of the Premier League just 2 seasons before them. So, you see, that's the kind of squad depth that Guardiola has been lucky to work with. He have owners that are ready to open the purse for him to sign. And let's not take that away from Liverpool owners too. In the past season or so, in the past 1 or 2 seasons, they have also been getting Marquis signings, buying their goalkeeper. Their goalkeeper signing from Roma was not a cheap signing. They had to break bank to sign him. Bringing Salah in, bringing Van Dijk in. Van Dijk was the most expensive defender signed. And all this came to play out in the sense that while Guardiola have had the opportunity of not only be able to establish his first team and now also able to establish backup players, Jurgen Klopp this season have only been able to sign Marquis signing as a first team player. When you talk about these attacking players, apart from his 3 starting lineup of Sadio Mane, Firmino, and Salah, those are the only exceptional players that you can really say, okay, these are players that can walk into any squad and still play. But what Klopp had working for him is that there is this team belief, there is this happiness that radiates through the squad, that no matter whether you are having the opportunity to play or not, once you get the opportunity to play, you give in all your best. Look at Origi, for example. He was exceptional when he had the opportunity. Anytime Shaqiri is called in to play, he is also exceptional. Although these are not players that you can put in the same caliber of second of the squad players of Manchester City.
Yeah.
But these players have always given their best. Let's not forget Sturridge. Sturridge is old, injury prone, but every opportunity he gets, he utilizes it. So, but defense-wise, I can't say he has been that lucky, because towards the run-up to the end of the season, if Van Dijk had been injured, that would have been a fatal blow for them. Because it's been long that Gomez, are you going to pair Gomez and Matip together in the defense when you are really under pressure?
Still have Lovren.
So you still have Lovren. These are players that were there that were not doing well for them to bring Van Dijk. So if you bring Van Dijk, you should bring players that can substitute for that. So I think from next season, with the way they've been able to go to Champions League final, the money that will come in, finishing second in the Premier League, the money that will come in with the way the club have been supporting Liverpool, the club, I think he will be able to buy in 1 or 2 players,
players,
squad players, not
well.
players that will just come, and because players like Milner will not be there forever.
In fact, he may be leaving this season.
Even if he's not leaving, his game time will reduce because of age.
He's gotten old.
He has given all his best, so he needs more players as looking forward towards next year. He needs more squad players, not just Matthew signing, because the problem is signing Matthew players is
you have to play them.
You have to play them. If you don't play them, they scatter the dressing room.
Yeah. Just like Mahrez was about to do before the end of the season. You bought in a player. He was the most expensive player in the squad, 60 million pounds, and you are putting him on the bench. You know, and he was willing to leave.
Of course.
Until he was played in the final game of the season. I wouldn't know if he changed his mind because of that. Now, let's go to the game at the weekend. We'll have the FA Cup final at the Wembley Stadium with Manchester City taking on Watford. We have our own boy, Isaac Success in Watford. And with the form the Manchester City is now, they are looking to get the treble. How will the game be like? Do you see Watford coming, looking at their semi-final, how they came through their semi-final to come into the final? You see them giving Manchester City a serious run for their money in the final?
Manchester City, this present Manchester City squad can go on to make record in Premier League in England. If they win on Saturday, they will become the first English club to do a domestic treble. No, when Manchester United did treble, then it was a treble of Champions League and Premier League and another local league. But this, according to my facts, if my facts are correct, they will become the first English club to do a domestic treble. That being said, can Watford pose a major threat for them? Of course. I think every final, regardless of who the opponent is a final. Because for Watford to get to this to the final is because they have been able to surmount some obstacles. If you look at their match against Wolves, no one really gave them no one expected them to be able to get a victory out of that, but they were able to by grinding. Look at the squad; they were still losing at least, I think, about 70 or 80 something minutes into the game before they were able to drag it into the extra time and grind the win. So their squad has a belief system. They have something in them that is working for them, and it's not every season they will be lucky enough to find themselves in the final. And they know that it's just the
last time they were in the final was in 1984, and they lost to Everton 2-0.
You see, but this time around they know that they have nothing to lose. You see, that's what I told.
And again, when you look at the team, you look at the Watford team, they have players that can do damage.
Of course. That's it. And I think the players are playing for the coach. When the coach came in, they have this belief in him. It took some time before they could adjust to his system, but when they did, they started playing well, the consistency started coming. And at the level when they were sure of safety in Premier League, we saw that
they started expressing themselves,
and the players were playing well. Gerard Deulofeu is one player that has caught the eye of everyone and is still doing very well. Troy Deeney is still doing excellently well. These are players that are...
Now when you look at the midfield, we have Dakolo, we have this former Tottenham player, this French midfielder.
Oh, okay. His name just skipped my mind.
Capone.
Yeah. He's also... These are players... Capone was exceptional last season. Let's not take that. I think for me, he's the best player for Watford last season. But his form did not drop despite the introduction of Dakolo and the other players. Yes. He was still doing well. Dakolo is exceptional this season. But one thing that works for that Watford squad is that they play as a unit. And that's what I think Manchester City might find it to be difficult. They have just won the Premier League. The complacency may step in, and the pressure is on them because they are the one that want to achieve what has never been achieved before. If Watford lose, it's still a very good season for them. But for football viewers across the world, I think the final on Saturday is going to be an exceptional one. You are going to get a good game. Two things can happen.
Okay.
Or let me just say three things. Manchester City can have a sweep running. That's the expected. If those that are playing bet will easily put their money on Manchester City to win the match. Watford can be very, very stubborn and make the game very interesting to watch with the result waiting to the last 90 minutes. And Watford can give them tough time, yet lose in the 9 minutes, it can take off. We can get to extra time. We can get to even penalty. I'm not ruling out anything in that match. I think Watford has what it takes to play Manchester City on Saturday.
Okay, let's still quickly go through the comments coming in from our Twitter handle. James Sanning is saying Liverpool did well, and they could do better next season. We have Abdul Onu. He's saying Manchester City were the team of the season. They were scoring the beautiful goals and they deserve their win. I want you to continue bringing in your comments. Continue sending them in. We'll read them as the program progresses. Now, if you are Pep Guardiola, what team will you set out on at the weekend for in the final? Are you going to give chances to some players who have not been playing throughout the season? Players like Mahrez, like Sané that have been benched severally. Then
I think the present position that Guardiola finds himself as a coach is the kind of position that every other coach at the top level envies. When you have assorted players that you can just pick anyone and it's still a good starting 11. I think that's the kind of headache coaches like to have. And that being said, I think he will still want to go for his strongest lineup. And the strongest lineup from recent matches, we've known that it includes the top 3 man attack of Raheem Sterling, Sergio Aguero, and Bernardo Silva. Except he decide to tinker with the squad and do what he did against Brighton by bringing Mahrez in, but I think I will expect him to go with that 3-man attack of Sterling, Aguero, and Bernardo Silva. He has played Mahrez in the last match of the league. He can still give him the playing time in the maybe second half or something. But I expect him to start with that 3-man attack. So I expect him to, to cut loss short, I expect him to go with a full squad, his strongest squad, because after this match they have nothing to play for again. Before any competitive match again is till August. So this is what matters. This is the crowning moment of their season, to do the treble. And to do this, you need players that will give it 120%. Not players that are still grumbling. If you put Mahrez will still do well. He got his chance against Brighton and
he had an assist and a goal.
That's why I'm telling you that this is the kind of headache every coaches want to have. Is it Sané that you are going to put in and you will be saying that this is the second squad? If it changes his entire starting level, these players are still players that you expect any day you can just close your eyes and say, no, Manchester City should win this match against Watford. So I expect him to go with that 3 normal, the expected attacking. But if he chooses to tinker with the squad, play Sané, play Mahrez and Aguero, I expect him to play Aguero. Except bar any injury, 9-minute injury, I expect him to play Aguero.
But Jesus
will come in as a second half substitute if there is need for it. Aguero is the kind of player that wants to play every time. Aguero is in the caliber of Messi, Ronaldo. Despite scoring, he still wants to play. Aguero is the kind of player that no matter this injury, once he's back, he wants to come back and score.
Okay, quickly, I would like to have your prediction before we move into the transfer market.
I expect, just like everybody, I will expect Manchester City to win the match, but I expect a Watford team that will turn up. So I expect a 3-1 victory for Manchester City. Okay.
You viewers will expect your comments too. Make your predictions and we'll read them out here. Now, the transfer window will be opening tomorrow. The domestic transfer window in the Premiership, while the international will start in 11 June. Okay. And players, rumors are already flying everywhere. Eden Hazard was said to have discussed personal terms with Real Madrid and will be leaving Chelsea. Now, how do you see it? If Hazard, who is the main player, the target, the centerpiece of Chelsea play, is leaving, and Chelsea is still under ban. They are still fighting for it to be dropped. How do you see Chelsea coping next season?
Hazard leaving Chelsea is not just a blow for Chelsea, but a blow for Premier League. He is one of the most outstanding players in the last 3-4 seasons. He is one of those players that once you mention their name, you want to watch the game. He has been one of the most exceptional players for the past 3 seasons in Premier League. To a very large extent, arguably the best player Premier League have had in the past 3 years. Some rate him ahead of Salah, ahead of Kevin De Bruyne.
Of course, he won the.
He has been that.
The Premier League.
So him leaving,
most creative player.
Yeah, him leaving Chelsea is a double blow, like I said earlier, for the league and for the club. The club might have to face it a little bit more, in the sense that when he leaves, they will have to find it hard to replace him. Except the club is going to play without a star man. That's what
okay, for Manchester City, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is saying he's going to sell off half of the team because of their dismal performance this season. Do you see, is that a kind of a solution to the problem they are having?
Yeah, I think that's expected. The body language from Mourinho and all the coaches have suggested that most of the players in Manchester United now, they are dead legs. They are players that just came in for the money, that don't play for the shirt. You see, when they lose, the mentality is not there. So if Solskjaer has concluded and he has had the support of the club hierarchy to sell off most of the players that are not doing well, I think it's a good thing for him. But the problem is not in selling these players. The problem is getting players that will replace them. Let's not forget that Manchester United is not going to play in the Champions League next season. So it's going to be extra difficult for them to bring in players of quality, because these players want to play in the Champions League every season. So I think it's a good decision if you want to sell, but a better decision would be to get a good replacement for them.
Okay, now for Arsenal, let's just look at one or two more transfer news. Barcelona are already eyeing Alessandro Lacazette. He had a very good season last season. He played 53 games altogether. He scored 21 goals and had 11 assists, which is a very good statistics when you look at a striker. And of course, most of those games he was not starting. Sometimes he play at the wing and all those stuff. So Barcelona are coming for him.
I think as a fan of Arsenal or a fan of any club in England, one of the news you don't like hearing is that Barcelona or Real Madrid move for your player. Because when these two clubs move for your player, it's more or less a done deal. Even if they don't get him that season, once that news sneaks into the media, the player's mind is already made up.
Next 1 or 2 seasons,
they will get him. Almost every player, the two clubs are still way ahead as they come to heritage and everything these days. So I think for Arsenal, the earlier they start looking for a replacement, the better for them. He may not leave this season.
We still have two years or so.
He may not leave this season, but
if they cannot get him to sign an extension this season, they have to sell.
Of course. So that's why I said it's two-way. Instead of forcing a player that his mind may have been, his agent will be telling him, you have an opportunity to play alongside.
And of course,
Messi.
this is psychological. You know, you tell him we want you, and when Barcelona comes for you, Real Madrid comes for you, you are not the same player again.
Of course, their mind is almost always in the club, in the Real Madrid or Barcelona. So the best thing is for them to start looking for options and cashing on.
Okay. Then finally, Antoine Griezmann has said finally he's leaving Atletico Madrid after years of speculations. You know, he has been a faithful player. He has been a faithful player for the club, and he said this season will be my last, and I want to leave. And Barcelona was already calling.
I think Griezmann has paid his dues. He has been a very responsible and respectful player. The way he handled the transfers last season, everybody expected him to leave last season, but he stuck by the club. And now he has come in a very gentle manner and talked to this club hierarchy that I want to leave this season. And I think it's best for both the club and the player to arrive at amicable solution. Let Barcelona pay his clause,
which is just 108.
Yeah, 108 million.
Okay, now before we go, let's just quickly look at some of the new comments that just came in. Nigel Young, he said, not a fan of either, but football. If you look close over the years, you will see that the decision of Man City they should not have they would not have won the league, and of course Swansea beat them in the cup. Thank God next year VAR, that means VR will be available. Referees this year have been very, very poor. These people talk nonsense. I hardly make sense of what he say, but at least he's saying they are lucky or something.
Yeah, I think what he's trying to say is that the officiating has been of help to
them.
And with the introduction of VAR next season, I think all the Premier League have to sit up, because most of the big clubs were getting the decision in their favor. But with the VAR this season,
it will be very
lot of points will be lost.
Okay, our viewers, we want you to still keep sending your comments in. We'll respond, and we are trying to draw the curtain now. Thank you, Clement, for
it's a pleasure
for your time.
Congratulations to Manchester City fans, if there are any of them. I think I know only one, so congratulations to them. Okay. And Liverpool, all the best next season, and all the other 4 big clubs, all the best to next season. That's what we want the Premier League to be competitive. Right. Not just these 2 clubs, but all the 6 clubs next season should be challenging for it.
Thank you so much for staying with us. See you next week. Thank you. Bye.